you rest, says the Lord. Alleluia, 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 alleluia. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said, "Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and humble of heart, and you will find rest for yourselves. For my yoke is easy and my burden light." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. There are many different kinds of rest. We can see rest as taking a break, taking a nap, having a summertime experience of recreation that helps to rebuild us. But the readings today are speaking to us of a kind of active rest. When we labor, if we labor only in our own initiatives, in our own name, oftentimes we give birth to wind, as the prophet Isaiah says. We work hard, sometimes we bear fruit, sometimes we don't. And it can be disheartening when our labors don't bear the fruit that we were hoping for. And so we turn back to the Lord, as this passage from Isaiah is. It's a kind of a psalm of lament. It begins with beautiful praise of God. For your way and your judgments, O Lord, we look to you. The way of the just is smooth. The path of the just you make level. But then looking back, the prophet recognizes ways that we have suffered in anguish under God's chastisement. And that's ultimately what any punishment from God is. It's chastisement, teaching us, guiding us back to Him. God brings us back to Him by those times of fruitless labor to remember who it is that bears fruit in our lives. Salvation we have not achieved for the earth. We can't achieve that health and spiritual salvation. The inhabitants of the world cannot bring it forth. But then one of the beautiful Old Testament passages about the resurrection of the body. Your dead shall live, their corpses shall rise. Awake and sing, you who lie in the dust. For your dew is a dew of light, and the land of shades gives birth. As God's chosen people were brought to rest in the promised land and experienced that rest to the extent that they followed God's commands, so for you and me who follow Christ, who invites us to come to Him, especially when we labor and are burdened, for he will give us true rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, he says. The yoke of discipleship, the yoke of following Christ. For I am meek and humble of heart. To the extent that we allow ourselves to be conformed to Christ, we can experience that rest that comes from following him. For my yoke is easy, he says, and my burden light.